Hi, this is Robert Clinkenbeard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to provide you with some value to help you scale your business, become a better leader, and push yourself out of your comfort zone into something which is going to stretch you. We really hope you enjoy these shows, and we really encourage you to like and share with your friends and network, which is only going to help us get a wider audience and improve our industry. I'm super excited to announce that in 2023, we're going to be announcing new partnerships, digital courses, some rebranding, and your opportunity to be coached by one of our many industry leaders, experts, or coaches. Cheers, everyone. Hi, this is Robert Clinkenbeard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. I'm very excited today to be joined by Brian Stoltz. We tried to get together probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, Brian, and I think there was a day when airlines, as usual, seemed to went haywire. So glad we finally got this rescheduled and back on the books again. So thank you, Brian, for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So Brian, talk to me about a little bit about you, a little bit about your company.
Sure. So I am the CEO of Winterberry. We're based in Southington, Connecticut, and I've been with the company almost 16 years. I started with them right out of undergrad, starting at the bottom as a junior garden designer, sort of teaching myself how to do landscape designs off of Google. And we have a really great culture here where we have a lot of people who have been here a long time, and I was just able to work my way up through the company and got my MBA while still working here, and been managing the business for about the last 5 years now. Winterberry, we're a little bit more diversified than a lot of the other companies that come on here. We do the classic landscape maintenance, as well as we do a large scale irrigation installation, including golf course irrigation, landscape construction, and residential design build.
That's awesome. Awesome. I love your story about how you started off with the lowest level and now you're CEO of the company. I mean, that's a great story. I mean, I don't hear that often. Talk to me about what do you think the reasons for your success were in climbing that ladder?
For me personally, it was trying to expose myself to as many different areas of the business as possible. Because we're so diversified, we have a lot of people who, and I think this is a tendency throughout the industry, become very specialized. You become specialized in fertilization or maintenance or construction. I sought out roles within the business where I could touch all of our different departments. And for me, that worked out in being working on our marketing and our technology. I joke around that the reason I became our director of technology was because I was the only manager under the age of 40 at the time. And they just assumed I knew about technology when I actually don't. So that was interesting, but just being willing to embrace those challenges and work across the different department lines was really useful for me because it gave me exposure to the different challenges and the different opportunities that those service lines have. So when we had a position open up, or rather when we decided to create the position of having an employee work directly between the owners and the business and work with all of our departments, then that experience was really helpful for me in just having those relationships already established and knowing what the other departments all go through.
No, that's awesome. You said something really key right there, and I want to make sure we emphasize is the fact that you said you sought out positions. And I think that's such a key phrase right there because, you know, obviously with having my own company, working with a ton of other companies, you know, you hear situations where people will get, you know, bent out of shape or frustrated because they're maybe being passed over, didn't be given an opportunity. But a lot of the time I feel as though they were just waiting around as if somebody was just going to suddenly pick them. Whereas I think you just have to be a little bit more aggressive, show what you're capable of, show your interest in other positions. So talk to me a little bit about that.
I couldn't agree more. I always say that I never held a position here that existed until I held it. And I think that, sure, I am a driven person. I want to succeed. I can be aggressive in wanting to succeed, but it certainly wasn't all me. It was also a lot about the culture of our company. And it's a culture that we've tried to continue where we are very flexible in our job descriptions. We are very flexible in the duties that we set up for people. We do a lot of, we call it job crafting, the process where we'll sit a person down and try to see what are their natural strengths, what are their goals, and then we shift those positions around them. We do that a lot during the hiring process. In the end, we're just looking for really talented people. And if their experiences don't exactly line up with the position, but we think they're a really good person, then we're going to change the position instead of try to shoehorn the person into it. And so the fact that the leadership here at Winterberry and the culture here allowed that to happen, I think is pretty unique. And here at Winterberry, my story isn't that unique. We have senior managers who, they started riding a mower, and now they've been through multiple departments and they're at senior level management. One of our managers, one of our VPs, has been here over 20 years, and he started out as a young kid working a shovel. So we have a lot of these stories where people were able to see an opportunity and take advantage of it. And we allow them to do that. I think too many companies are afraid to allow their people to dictate their own careers. And instead they want to have that control. It's a scary thing to let go of that control and let people come to you with the ideas and guide the business organically.
No, that's awesome. And I mean, I could go so many different directions here with my questions, but I'm going to try and pick on 3 different areas. One being, what type of tools you use to help find out where their skill sets are. What type of tools you use to help develop those employees, and just what type of monitoring you do. If it's that you do annual reviews, as a quarterly reviews, just again help to identify those things. So let's start off with, I suppose, the tools to help you identify the strengths and the areas you need to maybe firm up on.
Sure. We use one tool in particular that we really like. It's a personality assessment called Culture Index. We got tied into that 4 years ago, I want to say, and I immediately fell in love. I am a pretty numbers, metrics, black and white type of person naturally. I'm not as good with the relationship side, with reading people. That's not my skill set. And so having a way to look at someone in a more black and white and within a framework and a model is really helpful for me. And the most important thing it did is give us a common language when we talk about people. So our entire leadership staff was trained, and now whenever we are having conversations about someone, then we all have a language in common. We talk about their dots. That's the language they use and the framework that a person is naturally inclined to. And that helps us find the best path for them and find who is and isn't mismatched to the role that they're in. The other thing that I do, it sounds really simple, but it took some really hard lessons for me to learn it, is just to listen to people, to sit down with them, to ask them questions, and to really listen to what they have to say, and to not think that everyone is like me, everyone wants the same things I want, and that I can tell them where to go and how to build their careers. And I tell the story here a lot about, there was one really talented individual, and she was telling me what she wanted, and I wasn't listening. I thought that she could be so much more. I thought that she was going to be a senior leader. I thought she had all the potential in the world. And I still think she has all that potential. But what I wasn't listening to is that wasn't where her interest lied. And because I tried forcing her down a path she didn't want, then we ended up losing her. And it was really hard lesson for me to learn, because I had put a lot of time into working with this individual. But the lesson has sunk in, and now I try to really listen to people when they tell me what they want.
No, so I'm a huge fan of Culture Index as well. I did some training on it, so very familiar with it. So yeah, I think whatever personality assessment you use, I think just gives you that extra set of data. I think we can go through many interviews as we want. People can prepare themselves for interviews, and you can have a resume, but I think just having the extra set of, it's almost like another GPS point we have that data from a personality assessment, just allows you to make a better decision. So yeah, I applaud you for doing that.
I agree. I think the key is just to have one, right? There's so many out there, but if you have one and your leadership staff is trained in how to use it and you have buy-in amongst them, then just the act of having it and the effort of using it, that's what makes the difference. The minor differences between them, I think, are less important than just the intention of it.
Yep, 100%. So, now you've established, the strengths and weaknesses of your different team members. What does it then look like in terms of, developing them either in different skill sets, maybe even some leadership qualities? What are some of the things you use either internally or externally to help with that career development?
We do have a pretty aggressive education program. So we leave it up to people to go and find the education that's right for them. We'll advise if they ask for it. But in general, if someone wants to advance, we say, okay, go find a program you think would work for you and come back to us and make a proposal. And that initial filter actually filters out a lot of the people who aren't serious about it. But if they go and they may put in the time and effort to find the right program and come back and bring us the costs and the benefit to the company, that right off the bat shows us that they're the right kind of person we want to be investing in. And then we will make an investment in their education on the outside. That's what I did. When I got my MBA, the company helped me to get that, and I'm really grateful for that. And so I want to be able to pass that on to others. And then internally, I think the most important tool that we use are stretch assignments. So when someone is either coming to us saying they want more, or if their manager is saying, hey, this person has got it, this person's going to be someone that we want to keep and we want to advance, then we try to give them a stretch assignment, which is some sort of task or project that reaches beyond those department lines. Like I said earlier, I found that really useful in my own advancement to work across different teams. And we try to make sure that these stretch assignments will be across teams, but also be tasks that are for the next position. We don't want confirmation that they're good at their current job. We want to know if they're going to be good at the next job. Because the skill set between being a technician in the field, a direct contributor there, versus a manager overseeing 5 or 6 technicians are totally different. Just because you're good at one job doesn't mean you're going to be good at the next one, right? They call that the Peter principle. Everybody gets promoted to their level of incompetence. And so we try to test people for that next level, not for the level they're at. I think you're on mute, Robert.
Sorry about that. I think that does 2 things. Is it first of all allows you to test the capabilities of your employee. Give them that stretch goal just to see if they're capable of doing that. I think it's more often than not, a lot of managers or owners or leaders will take on that task themselves, or they'll maybe just say that they don't have the capacity to do it. But I think it also allows you as a company to be able to take on more things. I think a lot of companies will say, well, we're over capacity, we're too busy. Whereas if you actually start to empower your employees, especially one who, who are those rising stars, it's a double whammy benefit to the company. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and we've actually had some whole new services spun up through these kinds of stretch assignments where somebody will take something and run with it. We have a separate annual color department, which had previously been folded in as part of the maintenance contracts. It wasn't really being driven. We had a talented individual who wanted more. She was a cashier for us, and we've let her try out running color, and now it's its own department being driven independently, having its own investment, and being looked at as a key bedrock part of the business. And that wasn't planned. It was dictated by the talent.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see all those rising stars. I mean, what some of the tell me about a couple of success stories about people who have come through that career development program and given them stretch goals. Love to hear that.
Sure. One of our managers right now is a young guy. He had only been with us about 1.5 years as an account manager, and he came to us and said he wanted more. He wanted to be a manager. And I had an idea in the back of my head for a new department where I want to take our fertilization and our irrigation services and combine them to one sort of HR structure. So combine the processes and cross-train the technicians to look at them the same way. While yes, you're putting different things on the lawn, but in the end, it is about the lawn and the route structure, the number of visits. There's a lot of commonality between those two services, and I wanted to run them together under one manager. So when this individual came to us and said, I want to be a manager, I don't want to be an account manager anymore, the Culture Index said this is somebody who is a strong leader, a big picture thinker, as opposed to small picture. And so we gave some stretch assignments related to snow over the winter, related to vehicles and equipment. So this individual is able to work with managers and leaders in the other departments to see if he could hold up with them and whether he could give direction, earn their respect. And he did a great job with those. And so we put him in charge at the beginning of this year of this new department, which was a big culture shift for us to peel off these two smaller services from the larger pieces that they were part of and have them run on their own. And they were two of our top performing departments this year because they had consistent leadership, consistent support. And so it was a great success story. And now we are continuing to run that department and continuing to invest in it and continuing to grow it. And this individual who, if we hadn't done that for him, maybe we would have lost him this year. And maybe he would have gone somewhere else where he could have had that management position. So even though he hadn't been with us long, I'm a big believer that in looking forward to what a person can do, as opposed to looking back to what they have done. And so I don't really believe in paying your dues and having to prove it for a long time. I'm all about what is the potential for them to do tomorrow. And so we took that attitude with this individual, and it's really paid off.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I work with a lot of companies, and a lot of time on the strategic plan it comes up, we need a training program, and a lot of time it doesn't necessarily get a great deal of traction because I think it's just such a big topic to tackle. But it sounds like you've got a nice balanced program between some training for some of your field staff, but then what you've done is you've that top end piece as well is often where a lot of people get stuck with that leadership development. And you've obviously, it sounds like you have given almost allocated a budget towards people going out and looking at the outside resources, whether it be colleges, whether it be other professional companies, and allow people to do within reason to do that type of leadership development, whether it's an MBA or some other leadership program. So I think that's tremendous.
Thanks. And don't get me wrong, I wish we had better training programs. Formal field training is something that we are working on getting better at. It's not an easy thing to put in place. So we are also working on that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a constant thing. But even just the fact that you're, the way you're talking about it is more career development rather than just training. I think that probably helps with some of the dialogue for some of your employees, that you're actually developing and investing in your employees. So that's great.
Thank you.
So how, with you spending so much time and effort on that career development, I mean, that must be opening up opportunities for Winterberry in terms of expansion, increasing your revenue, whatever that looks like. Talk to me about that part.
Yeah, it's actually the two feed off of each other. So having people on board, great people and great team members who want to drive their own success and come to you with ideas does open up new opportunities. But there's also the other side of that in order to create the space for people to advance and grow, you have to be growing as a company. If you're static, then that doesn't create opportunities for people. I'm a firm believer that growth is a requirement to have the type of culture that we have. So the two areas feed off of each other. And we've been in a really pretty rapid organic growth phase for us. We had sort of plateaued around $10 million in revenue. Whenever I moved up into this position at the beginning of 2016, And now 2023, we are expected to crack 32 million. So it's been all organic growth.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome. Well done.
Oh, thank you. It's been quite a ride, and sometimes it's really difficult to manage that level of growth, but I think it's made easier by being dictated by the team. When the team comes to you with an opportunity, I find myself being the restrictor plate as often as I am the gas pedal, where it's, okay, slow down, guys. We have to be able to control this. But it's a lot more fun, I think, and it's a lot more exciting to be growing and trying to get better every day than just trying to hold on to what you already have.
Yeah, I agree. Again, coming down to the last couple of questions here, for the people out there that either, I don't know if I want to call them naysayers or just some of those negative people, where they'll say, well, it's great if you want to train or develop your employees, but then they're going to up and leave. How do you answer that?
Yeah, it happens. And when it does, it hurts. We make a real effort that when people do leave, we let them know the door is open, and we try to leave on good terms. And that is by no means an easy thing to do. But what we found is that by setting that standard and setting that example, we have a lot of people come back after a year or two. They see the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And we have a lot of people come back after a year or two. And on the other, it also helps that when somebody leaves, I feel like they're less likely to do damage on the way out, and they're more likely to leave their responsibilities in a good place if they know that we're not going to be lashing out at them on their way out the door.
Yeah.
So that's another part of our culture that, we are going to train you to the best of our abilities because that is to our benefit. And if in the end you find a better opportunity elsewhere, sometimes that means that we didn't do our job in communicating with you and finding the right path for you. Sometimes it means we disagreed about your abilities. We have several examples of people who had come to me saying they wanted to be a manager. I had my doubts, and so I would give them those stretch assignments and they wouldn't follow through. And then when they came to us at the end of the year saying, well, you said we talked about the end of the year, where's my promotion? I said, well, you didn't follow through on what you had to do. You didn't read the books we had given you. You didn't come to us with a course. We gave you an extra assignment that you could have taken on and you chose not to. And so we don't think you're ready. And when those people leave, it's sort of a self-selection. They weren't ready for the responsibility they wanted, or we had a mismatch with our expectation of their abilities. And that's fine. We can leave on good terms with those people. And I think that is still better for the organization than promoting someone that we don't think has what it takes.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you also said two key things is, if you have that great culture and you're also, always looking to grow or expand your company, then it just makes it a lot tougher to leave because, if you're part of a growing company and you've been there and you're part of that growth trajectory, then it helps people see that career path ahead of them. So yeah, nice job.
Thank you.
Final question. If people want to contact you and just find out a little bit more about you, your career development, a little bit more about your company, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Happy to talk to anybody. They can shoot me an email. My email is Brian, BRYAN, @winterberrygarden.com. Cool.
Awesome. Brian. Well, really appreciate your time today, Brian. Finally, again, we've managed to get in touch and do this interview. Look forward to talking to you or seeing you at one of your upcoming peer group events. So thank you again, Brian, for your time today.
Oh, thank you so much. This is a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. Okay, take care.
You too.
Hopefully that was pure, dead brilliant for you today, and you got some great takeaways for your business or your leadership role. This is Robert Clinkenbeard, and we'd love to get you and your friends to join us in our future journey. So please subscribe through the various podcast channels or visit thecommerciallandscaper.com or brucewilsoncompany.com and check out some more information there. Anyway, hopefully you all have a pure, dead, brilliant day. Cheers, everyone.